Hey guys, welcome to Channel Kids Moral Stories.
Once upon a time, in a dense forest, there lived a big, fluffy bear named Benny. Benny was known for his bravery and kindness. One day, a severe storm hit the forest, causing the river to overflow and destroying many homes. Benny decided to embark on a journey to find help. He traveled through the forest, facing many challenges along the way. He crossed rushing streams, climbed steep hills, and encountered fierce creatures. But Benny was not afraid. He used his strength and cleverness to overcome each obstacle. As he journeyed, Benny met various animals who joined him on his quest. There was Max the mouse, who was quick and agile, Sammy the squirrel, who was nimble and fast, and Olga the owl, who had sharp eyesight. Together, they reached the wise old badger's den, who told them about a hidden path leading to the nearby village. The villagers, he said, would have the resources to help the forest animals. Benny and his friends bravely followed the path, facing more challenges until they finally reached the village. The villagers were amazed by the brave bear and his friends. They provided them with food, shelter, and tools to rebuild their homes. Benny and his friends returned to the forest, where they were welcomed as heroes. The animals worked together, using the resources from the village to rebuild their homes and restore the forest. Benny's bravery and determination had saved the day, proving that even the biggest challenges can be overcome with courage and friendship. From then on, Benny was known as the bravest bear in the forest, and his legendary journey was told and retold for generations to come. Like and subscribe channel for more stories, and not forget to press bell icon.
Once upon a time, in a peaceful meadow surrounded by a dense forest, lived a brave rabbit named Benny. Benny was small but quick-witted, with a heart bigger than his fluffy white tail. One sunny afternoon, as Benny was hopping around the meadow, he heard a commotion near the edge of the forest. Curious, he followed the noise and discovered that the animals were gathered around, looking distressed. As he approached, he saw a sly fox named Fergus pacing back and forth, boasting about how he was going to take over the meadow and make all the animals his servants. "Listen up, all of you," Fergus announced. "From now on, you will bring me food every day, or else I will chase you down and eat you myself." The animals trembled with fear. The squirrels chattered nervously, the birds flapped their wings in panic, and the mice scurried to find hiding places. But Benny, despite his small size, felt a surge of courage. He hopped forward and stood before Fergus. "Fergus," Benny declared, his voice steady, "you can't scare us. This meadow belongs to all of us, and we will not be bullied by you." Fergus laughed, a sinister glint in his eyes. "And what can a tiny rabbit like you do to stop me?" Benny knew he had to be smart. He looked around and noticed a thorny bush nearby. "I challenge you to a race through the meadow," Benny said. "If you win, we will do as you say, but if I win, you must leave us in peace forever." Fergus, confident in his speed, agreed to the challenge. The other animals, though worried, admired Benny's bravery and hoped for a miracle.
The race began. Fergus darted ahead, sure of his victory. But Benny had a plan. He led Fergus through the trickiest parts of the meadow, weaving through thick patches of tall grass, and jumping over rocks. As they approached the thorny bush, Benny sped up and squeezed through a narrow gap. He knew well. Fergus, chasing close behind, didn't notice the thorns until it was too late. Fergus yelped as the thorns scratched his fur and slowed him down. Benny took this opportunity to sprint ahead. By the time Fergus freed himself from the bush, Benny had already crossed the finish line, where the animals cheered loudly. Panting and covered in scratches, Fergus admitted defeat. "You win, Benny," he growled, trying to hide his embarrassment. "A deal is a deal. I will leave this meadow and never bother you again." True to his word, Fergus slinked away into the forest, and the meadow was peaceful once more. The animals gathered around Benny, lifting him up and celebrating his bravery. From that day on, Benny was known as the bravest rabbit in the meadow. He taught all the animals that courage isn't about being the biggest or the strongest. Sometimes the bravest thing you can do is stand up for what is right, no matter how small you are. And so, the animals lived happily, always remembering Benny's lesson. True bravery comes from the heart. Moral of the story: courage is not about size or strength, but about standing up for what is right and facing challenges with bravery and intelligence. Subscribe channel for more stories, and not forget to press bell icon.
Once upon a time, in a small village nestled in the mountains, there lived a young boy named Cato. Cato was known throughout the village for his exceptional kindness and respect towards everyone he met. One day, while wandering through the village, Cato came across a frail old man, struggling to carry his groceries. Without hesitation, Cato rushed to help the old man, carrying his bags and escorting him home. The old man, whose name was Mr. Tanaka, was deeply grateful for Cato's kindness. As Cato continued on his way, he encountered a group of children teasing a new student, Emma, who had recently moved to the village. Cato intervened, introducing himself and welcoming Emma to the village. He then invited her to join him and his friends for a game of soccer, making her feel included and valued. The next day, Cato's teacher, Mrs. Nakamura, asked him to assist a new student, Taro, who was struggling in class. Cato patiently tutored Taro, explaining concepts in a way that made sense to him. Taro was grateful for Cato's help and began to excel in class. As news of Cato's good deeds spread, the villagers began to notice a change in their own behavior. They started showing more respect and kindness towards one another, inspired by Cato's example. One day, a severe storm hit the village, causing widespread damage. Cato immediately sprang into action, helping his neighbors repair their homes and clean up the debris. Mr. Tanaka, Emma, Taro, and many others joined in, working together as a community. In the aftermath of the storm, the villagers gathered to celebrate their resilience and newfound sense of unity. Mrs. Nakamura stood up and praised Cato for his unwavering respect and kindness towards others, which had inspired the entire village to come together. Cato's selflessness and compassion had taught the villagers a valuable lesson, that respect for others is the foundation of a strong and supportive community. From that day forward, the village was forever changed, with Cato's example continuing to inspire generations to come. The story of Cato spread far and wide, a reminder to always treat others with respect, kindness, and compassion. Subscribe channel for more stories.
Once upon a time, in a forest far, far away, there lived a hungry fox named Felix. Felix loved grapes, and one day, he spotted a delicious-looking bunch hanging from a vine. His mouth watered at the thought of eating them. Felix tried to reach the grapes, but no matter how hard he jumped, he couldn't quite get them. He jumped and jumped, but they were just out of his reach. Felix got more and more frustrated. He wanted those grapes so badly. Just when Felix was about to give up, he had an idea. Those grapes are probably sour anyway. He said to himself, I don't want them anymore. Felix walked away, trying to look like he didn't care about the grapes. But deep down, he was still very hungry and very disappointed. As he walked, he met a wise old owl perched in a nearby tree. What's wrong, Felix? Asked the owl. Felix explained how he couldn't reach the grapes, and how they were probably sour anyway. The owl listened carefully and then said, Felix, sometimes we say things are bad or unwanted because we can't have them, but it's okay to admit when we want something and can't get it. It's okay to feel disappointed. Felix thought about this for a moment. He realized that the owl was right. He really did want those grapes, and it was okay to admit it. From that day on, Felix learned to be honest with himself and others. And even though he never got those grapes, he found other delicious foods to eat. Felix became known as the wisest fox in the forest, and he lived happily ever after.
Once upon a time, in a forest filled with tall trees and winding streams, there lived a fast and confident rabbit named Rosie. Rosie loved to brag about her speed and often bullied her friends, saying, "I'm the fastest runner in the forest. No one can beat me." On the other side of the forest, there lived a slow and steady tortoise named Terry. Terry was tired of Rosie's boasts and decided to challenge her to a race. "I may be slow," said Terry, "but I can still win a race against you, Rosie." Rosie laughed and laughed. "That's impossible. I'm the fastest runner in the forest. You're just a slowpoke." But Terry was determined. She practiced every day, moving slowly but steadily through the forest. Finally, the day of the big race arrived. All the animals in the forest gathered to watch. Rosie sprinted off the starting line like a shot, leaving Terry far behind. But as Rosie grew tired and took a nap under a shady tree, Terry kept moving forward. Slowly but surely, Terry crossed the finish line first. All the animals cheered and chanted, "Terry, Terry, Terry." Rosie woke up with a start and realized she had lost. She felt ashamed and sorry for her mean words. Terry became a hero, and Rosie became her friend. From then on, they had many more adventures together. Learning that everyone has their own strengths and weaknesses, Rosie learned to appreciate Terry's determination and perseverance, and Terry learned to appreciate Rosie's speed and agility. The two friends proved that even the slowest and fastest of friends can work together and achieve great things. And they lived happily ever after in the forest, surrounded by their friends and the lessons they learned from their famous race. Subscribe my channel for more stories and learn moral stories.